welcome to episode 7 of the Ed Factor. It's episode 7, isn't it?
7 deadly sins. Not this week anyway. But yeah, it is episode 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good grief. How did that happen?
I don't really know, but it's
Here we
been
are.
a blast so far.
Today we will be looking at the Powerslave album.
Unbelievable. Now, last week, if you were listening to our review of Peace of Mind, we had a wee bit of a disagreement about it.
A little bit.
Yeah, and we are still friends, don't worry, it's all good. And this is going to be another deep dive into yet another seminal Maiden album.
Yep. Now, as usual, we have not discussed the album during the week. We go away,
we listen to it yep.
constantly.
And it has been,
but we don't chat about what we're gonna say here today beforehand. Just might mean it's a wee bit unscripted. We both have our own notes.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he thinks of it. He doesn't know what I think of it. So,
as you would know from last week's.
Yeah. Yes. So
this is going to be good.
It's going to be a good.
I have a good feeling about it. I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, me too. Now, a bit like Peace of Mind, I don't think we have to set too much of a scene for this one.
No.
The World Peace Tour ends December 1983, and the band has January 84 off before they go to Jersey.
Back to the hotel.
Back to the Le Chalet Hotel. To write and rehearse for 6 weeks. Now, interesting on this, member of the fan club, the most recent magazine, both Steve and Bruce are independently talk about Powerslave.
Right, okay, cool.
So Steve answers a load of questions, like a Q&A thing.
Yeah.
But Bruce's is a deep dive on the inspirations behind Powerslave. So,
over to you, Professor.
Yeah, well, I was able to glean a couple of things just out of that, obviously. So both Bruce and Steve arrived to Jersey with a few bits on tape, according to Steve.
Yeah.
And he said Bruce played him a couple of pieces, which were 3 different pieces.
Oh, I heard this too.
They were the pieces that he said, stick it all together, and that became Powerslave.
Became the title track.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
So they had a couple of bits and pieces, but yes. They did most of the writing and rehearsing there.
Like they normally did.
Like they normally did. And then off to the Bahamas.
Off to Compass Point with Martin Birch to get blocked in the Waterloo Club. And,
on daiquiris or whatever.
On daiquiris. And record yet another fantastic album.
Yep. Now, notable things about Powerslave.
Yep.
It is the first album to feature the same lineup. Unbelievable. Yep.
This is album number 5.
And each album has had a lineup change. Yep. So this is the first one.
This is unique
Unique
in
that sense. Yep. It's also the longest album up to this point.
Yeah.
51 minutes.
And we'll talk about why in a while.
We'll talk about why. Yeah.
Also their biggest selling album in the United States.
Yes, it would be. It would be their biggest selling album.
Would you agree this is the album that broke them in America properly?
I do. And I think it's a funny thing about albums in general that very often the album that breaks, or sometimes the album that is the one that seems to be the breakthrough album, has done so because of the work of the album that preceded it.
Oh yeah.
And I think with Peace of Mind, we looked at the World Peace Tour and looked at, they toured America.
The dates. They did what, 5 months to America? Yeah.
Most of, like a bulk of the tour. It was focused on America. Flight of Icarus was deliberately slower.
That's right.
Bruce wanted it that way to get an American radio airplay, and they did do. So I think it's Peace of Mind really laid the groundwork for this. I think so. But yes, it is that, and probably having such a huge stage show.
Yeah.
are the things that I think make this album break.
I'll make it special in my eyes.
Make it special. It is a special album.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Its release date was the 3rd of September, 84, which, interestingly, Senjutsu will be released also on the 3rd of September.
21.
21, yeah. So, will we look at the track listing?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So, guess we can just go through each song.
Yeah, I have to
Will
say
I?
now, yeah, I was very critical of the first 2 tracks in Peace of Mind, if you recall last week.
Yes.
And I think this is a 1-2 punch.
This is a 1-2 punch.
This is really what I like to see in nearly every Maiden album. Is this?
You like the real coming out of the blocks,
Yeah.
charging, all guns blazing.
I'm trying to
Maiden
think.
for track 1.
Every one of my favourite Iron Maiden albums nearly starts in the same way.
With the blistering track.
Yeah, I do. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, nearly all of them. But yeah, this is just the thing that gets me. In particular, these 2 tracks are
Yeah. Well, I have to.
highlights. You know,
Yeah. For
of the entire canon.
Aces High to kick off the album. Although I was last week very much defending Where Eagles Dare because I love it as a track, it's hard to say that Aces High isn't the ultimate Iron Maiden opener.
Yeah, definitely.
For a gig and therefore for an album.
Yeah, very much so.
You know, it's
Wicker Man's was a great opener.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's the one. It's the one that the both not the different era,
but they vie.
Their vibe for like whoa.
Wicker Man is a special track,
Well,
obviously
indeed,
for obvious
reasons we'll go into in many weeks' time.
But this is right up there with
It's brilliant.
the ultimate Iron Maiden opener.
And the Harris track.
It's a Harris pen track. Yeah. A lot of people might think it's Bruce because of it being about
The
airplanes.
bombast,
But it's not. It's written by Steve Harris completely.
Basically reflecting, well, the talk about, it's World War II. It's based in, so it is. Because there's mention of ME-109s in it, which is where
And Churchill's speech is put in, obviously in the live show.
Brings me straight to the Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
And the one thing about it, which I love, because as a student of history and in particular that era, the lyrics in it are fantastic.
Yeah.
Run. What is it? Run. I can't remember now. My head's. I've got a blank.
Live
Run,
to fly.
fly, do it, doing it again. Because that was what happened.
Running, flying, diving,
All
all
that
that kind of
flew,
stuff.
they come down to reload, straight back up again, doing it again. Really good. That bit in particular is amazing. And they talk about, paints it very, obviously Steve's done research in it, or like, he was a kid growing up in the 60s in London, we know all about the Battle of Britain and Spitfires and what have you, but that's what they did, and they flew out of the sun, they deliberately, disorientate the person, the people that were going after in the bombers or in the ME-109s, but brilliant. Love it.
Brilliant, yeah. I love lyrically how it actually, the first verse, they're not even in the air.
Yeah.
It's about being attacked in the ground and scrambling to get into the plane and
that's
kicking the wheel
Pulling
blocks
the wheel
off,
blocks off,
and all that kind of stuff.
You can just imagine it,
It gives great sense of panic and urgency to it. And then the second verse is more about the dogfight.
Yeah.
And kind of, I think that's a really, really cool dynamic rather than just going straight into the flying part. I love that. Oh, there's also, it is about the Battle of Britain in World War II, but there's a film called Aces High,
right,
1976,
which
is about the aerial battles. No, it's about the Western Front, 1917.
Oh, yeah.
Although I think this film was based on a play which was about trench warfare, and then this director translated it or altered it into being about the Flying Corps in 1917. So Steve's obviously
saying there's
And it's called
There's
This Is How, so...
an Eddie, a Red Baron Eddie, I think.
No, so...
The Fokker triplane.
No,
a red one.
Well, the Red Baron reference would be to Death or Glory.
Ah, right, yeah.
So it is, but the triplane, and it's about him.
That's it.
So,
I've got my Eddie wires crossed.
Climbing like a monkey and all that. So it is. And you
you're thinking that to go into now.
You might be thinking Tail Gunner is another.
Oh, I love that. That's a great tune.
It's a cool Eddie. But we're off on a tangent again.
Sorry, I know we're off on a
But great opener.
Brilliant.
The other thing I would say is that there's a real rat-a-tat-tat about the guitars, and almost like
wasps,
propellers, or wasps.
After they're like,
and
you know, playing chords and following the lyrical melody is crazy.
It's really, really cool, and the dive bombs, as well.
in the leads,
in the leads, I think really adds that sense of swooping through the air.
Just sort of set a stall out. The lead work in this album is probably one of the greatest.
Peak Smith and Murray.
Yeah, very much so.
They seem to be just so tight.
Yeah, I actually think the production in this album is the best we've heard. It's better than Peace of Mind. It's better than Number of the Beast. The production, I don't know why, but I think when you listen to it, it's the best produced Maiden album to date. And I know they've been the same producer for 3 albums, but or 4 albums. But you know, I definitely think this sounds the best.
Well, definitely.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know anything about the gear they used or whether it changed. Probably didn't, but
well, it's the tones are definitely sharper.
Yeah.
Peace of Mind is a thicker sound, both guitar tones wise and drums wise. I think the drums are very tight sounding in this album, and maybe not as fat. Everything has a bit more of a ping off it, and definitely the guitars are they sound sharper to me. Like there's a wee bit more high end there. So it's just playing around
they're
with
using
tones
or whatever, you know, you never know.
Yeah, and I think Martin Birch is why he's such a great producer. I think if you look at each of his albums that he's produced, whether he's EQing things differently, he's going for a slightly different sound.
He's producing the song rather than the band.
But each album has a slightly different sound, you know, and that's it still sounds like Maiden, but it means that they're not repeating themselves.
That's it.
You know, and this does sound different from Peace of Mind and Number of the Beast, definitely. Whether it's personally my favorite, I love Peace of Mind so much.
I know you do.
Just but I still think the production in this is awesome.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want it to be produced the same. You
see, that's it. You don't want it to be the same, you're right.
No,
absolutely.
Definitely not. So,
right, we're going to track number 2.
Track number 2 is 2 Minutes to Midnight, a Smith Dickinson classic.
As if you couldn't, as if try and top Aces High, and you come out with that. That has to be the groove. The groove at the beginning of it.
It is
so good.
It is the groove, and
it's Adrian Smith's calling card right there.
It is. This is a song for me that is Adrian Smith's calling card. Now, when Smith wasn't in the band, and it's Yannick and Dave Murray, this song live never sounded the same to me, and I always kind of used to wonder why, like, it's not the hardest riff in the world to play. Why does it not sound as good? I've got this is a good number of years now, after Brave New World or whatever, I got a video of Adrian Smith jamming, playing guitar, and he plays 2 Minutes to Midnight, and why it sounds different when he plays it is on the he upstrokes.
Right.
It doesn't whether I think the other guys
for non-guitar players that means he moves his hand that way across the strings. Yep.
And it just gives it just sounds different to if you play everything with downstrokes. And I think when Yannick Gers plays that riff, he plays it all with downstrokes.
Because his hands are like lightning.
Smith, it flows better. and
Adrian's
it's-
Adrian's a completely different guitar player. to the other two
completely
guys.
different
Yeah,
player,
you know.
and such a simple riff, yet
Yeah.
only he can really make it sound the way it sounds. It just sounds more powerful and groovier.
The
when
more
he
you
plays it.
listen to him, and the more you sort of become acutely aware of what he produces in the band.
Yeah.
He is so steeped in classic rock. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like even Smith Kotzen is, his new stuff is
Yeah.
really steeped in classic rock. I love that, and that's why he is my favorite guitar player.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Likewise.
that's why, but this is his calling card, really.
It
As
is.
you say, not the most difficult riff to play in the world, but it doesn't sound the same unless he's playing it.
It doesn't sound the same unless he's playing it, and that's just his magic touch, I suppose.
Now, lyrically, fantastic lyrics.
Fantastic lyrics.
I think Bruce's most scathing lyrics at the time.
Yeah. So
The context of it.
2
minutes to midnight is whenever that's what the 2 minutes to midnight is on the doomsday clock, and obviously midnight would be world destruction.
Yep.
And that's been reflected in popular culture and in real life, during the Cold War. And
So,
obviously this album was
nuclear
written
Armageddon,
in
basically.
the middle of the Cold War. But some of the things, it's a very eloquently written anti-war song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's he says it's also about the how war brings out the best and the worst in human beings. So,
You have the thing about the quote from Michael Hare, is it? Blood is freedom's stain.
Right. That's a quote from.
Yeah.
All I had was that Bruce was inspired by a book called
I think it's
Dispatches
about the
by
Vietnam
Michael
War.
Eyre.
I think.
I didn't know there was a quote from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Blood is freedom's stain. Yeah.
Is that a quote from that book?
Yeah,
Then? Right. Okay. Cool.
Well, it's a quote
cool.
from a general from the book.
Right.
I think
Right.
the Dispatches of Vietnam War. I don't know whether I read it. I did my dissertation on the Vietnam War. And I think it did something about it.
Right. I'd
It
never
did
heard
ring
of
a
it
bell,
before,
if you know
but-
what I mean.
Right. It must be Vietnam.
Yeah,
right. Cool. So, what a track. What a
Fabulous.
track. Yeah. The other thing, just musically about, unless there's anything else you want to
No.
say lyrically, well, in the interlude or guitar solos, whatever you want to call it, there is a wee bit that sounds a wee bit kind of the chord progression sounds a touch Egyptian or something, that kind of thing. Which I find out with a couple of the tracks just throughout this album, it helps kind of just tie it to the Powerslave thing.
Yeah, because Maiden haven't done a concept album to date. At 84.
By this point,
Yeah,
no, and this isn't a concept album,
No.
but there's a couple of tracks, just some of the chord progressions, whether it's intentional or not, there's
Yeah.
just a wee nod to that, and there is in 2 minutes to midnight
Absolutely,
in the kind of
I know you're talking
slower
about,
bit,
yeah.
So
But that's all a splash cymbals, is it?
yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yep, classic track, and I doubt there's any Maiden fans out there who don't agree.
Some of the things that he says in it, like the lyrics are, you could nearly tie them into the modern day as well. Everything that's happening in the world at the minute. It nearly is like a precursor to the album that we're waiting on, Senjutsu.
Yeah,
I think, really, like, I don't know, it wasn't even written at the same time, but like Watchmen, do you ever, Watchmen, the graphic novel? And it's a movie and a series,
I've seen the movie, but I haven't.
It was all about the Doomsday Clock when you read the graphic novel at the
Dr.
beginning.
Manhattan.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I think Watchmen was maybe 1985, but
Right.
not that, Alan Moores was reading or listening to me, he probably wasn't. But they're all linked together, it
All
was
linked
a
together.
cultural, it was the zeitgeist at the time,
Suppose in the 80s it was
Many Scrabble points to get for using the word zeitgeist, I don't know.
quite a lot.
Go me.
Go you. That'll be a tough one to beat. Cool. Right.
Lost for words, I'm a bit lost for words, are you?
Lost for words. Big,
Big aura.
Now, I didn't know, right? Both Steve and Bruce said in the fan club magazine This was them, Steve. This was us sodding about with the Irish. By God, Bigora.
I never knew that.
I never knew that. That's probably because we're from Northern Ireland.
Now, Maiden. No.
Well, no one up here says that.
Right,
It must be maybe any fans from the Republic
of Ireland.
To people from the Republic of Ireland. Do people say Bigora? Is it like a bejesus Bigora type thing?
Aye, it's like a stereotypical Irish with a chalet.
Have you heard it? Heard of it?
I've heard of Bigora, yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Begorra.
I've never heard it in my life before.
Oh, have you not?
No,
oh, right,
that's
right.
what I'm saying.
I never put that connection together.
No, I
knew it was called Lost for Words because it could put words to it.
Aye.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like, like a big horror or something like that,
Yeah.
Don't know. But anyway,
I thought they were slagging off the sheriff.
No,
I don't know.
Sheriff of Huddersfield. But Bruce said we thought it was funny at the time, but no one seemed to get it. Oh well, type
Is
thing.
it an It's not an Irish sounding track. Like there's nothing there that would remind me of traditional Irish music.
Nothing
No.
at all. I don't know. They just called it that.
Yeah.
Threw that in.
They're probably drinking Guinness that weekend or
Yeah.
something.
As an instrumental, though,
I like this song.
I like a riff. I think it's a cool riff. Quite a lot going on.
There's bits in it
pretty
that remind
technical.
me of a dogfight. You know, when I was listening to
Right.
it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's cinematic. You know, if you were watching, you could stick Top Gun on or Battle of Britain or whatever, turn the sound off and put it on. I think it would look pretty good. I just that's a picture to paint in my head.
I suppose it's
My face is high, as a precursor for it. But
it's pretty pacey.
I like it.
And there is some great guitar
Great
work.
guitar
going
work.
on.
Again, that's what I was going to say. Absolutely, the guitar work. We'll reiterate again. They are on fire.
They are on fire, and I'm pretty sure there was a live version of it on some of the. It might have been a B-side, or it might have been on the extended version of Life After Death or something. I definitely have heard a live version of this. Pretty sure. Should have checked before this episode. But anyway, yeah, good track.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recommended listening.
How would
Deep
you
cut
deep cut? It's actually the last
instrumental.
that they would ever do. How would it rank
I like it
compared to the other instrumentals?
My favorite one's Transylvania.
Yeah, I think Transylvania is hard to beat. Though I like Genghis Khan as well, though.
No, I prefer
it's
this.
Really rapid fire. I know you weren't as keen on
this would be my set. This would be Transylvania, then this one.
This is a bit. It's definitely more. I suppose would you use the word more cultured? It's more complex maybe than the other instrumentals.
It's it's the scope of it.
Yes,
it's very cinematic.
Yeah. There's more to it than the other pieces. I think than Transylvania or Genghis Khan. There's more bits and pieces, isn't there? Yeah. And the guitar playing is definitely more complex.
Oh man, the lead work on it is unparalleled. That's fabulous.
It's mind-boggling stuff.
Yeah, really is.
So it is. So yeah,
absolutely. Some adorable lead lines.
Yes,
from our two favorite axemen.
Definitely. So I'd say it's a good track.
Aye, yeah. It wouldn't be the best track in the album. This album, this is you could nearly rename this album Bookends.
Yes, absolutely.
If you were going to be snottery about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
First two and the last two.
Yeah.
I agree.
There is a bit of sort of sag in the middle, but I would.
Yeah.
I can't. Sag's too hard a word.
No,
there's not. I love the tracks in the middle, but and I love Bigora.
Yep. Cool.
Lost for words.
Yep. It's a good track. Next is Flash of the Blade.
Yes. Now. Bit of a connection as well to the new album too.
Yep.
We all know, or maybe you do, maybe you don't. Bruce is a extremely competent fencer.
Yep.
Of some renown, especially in the 80s, whenever he was all you need to do is read what does this button do. It's nearly half about Iron Maiden, a quarter about fencing and a quarter about flying. Yeah.
He loved his fencing.
Yeah, and he was
loves
fencing.
His fencing.
Did you hear the story about him and Martin Birch?
Yes.
Have the karate versus fencing.
Karate versus fencing. Yeah. I did.
Marvin Birds.
Marvin. Yeah, that was cool.
Watch the early days documentary.
He's also got quite a collection of swords, Bruce.
I would say he would have,
So,
yeah.
So he does. Yeah, he's very much into his fencing. And this is a Dickinson song, by the way.
Ah, yeah. And it's nearly. I'm not gonna say. I love the riff at the beginning of it.
I love the riff at the beginning of it. Yep, I agree.
The lyrics are sort of a little bit, you know, I wouldn't say on the nose, but there's some nearly sort of semi-fetishistic
right, right.
Then resin leather and all, and you're like, okay.
Yes, okay. Well, apparently.
Okay, go ahead. No, you fill us in with a fact.
Well, he said in the recent Fan Club magazine that it's.
I wish I'd seen this magazine.
Based on two things: the Musashi, the samurai who informed Sun and Steel as well, and also a book called The Duel: A History of Dueling,
right,
by Robert Baldrick.
Right. Any relation to the one we all know and love?
Well, I don't know. I think of something cunning to say, but I can't. That's a Blackadder joke. But anyway, yeah. So I think it's an all right song. I think it's a cool enough riff. I think, how long does this song last? 4 minutes. I think it overstays its welcome by about a minute.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if it was about a 3-minute something song,
it's probably the weakest song on the album, in my opinion.
In your opinion, it's not the weakest for me, but it's.
I think I know what your weakest. I think I know what the weakest. Now, if you don't think that's the weakest, I think I know what your weakest is. But...
okay. But it's a good song. Is it as good as Sun and Steel?
I would say no. Yeah.
It's not, which is
similar
subject matter.
No, I do love Peace of Mind. That was quite hard on last week, but no, I loved it. Sun and Steel was one of my favourite tracks of the album. Yeah.
So it's an okay song. It's a good song.
Again,
but
Bruce's lyrics and his delivery of the vocals so quick.
Yes,
his intonation.
Yeah.
As a singer is probably never really picked up.
It's crazy.
I didn't really pick it up until we did these sort of real deep.
Yeah. And when you look at the lyrics and you think, sometimes you think, my God, he's saying all that.
Yeah. So you're reading a bloody novel.
Yeah. There's a lot of syllables and stuff there, you know, and yet he makes it. It doesn't sound clumsy.
No.
You know, most singers trying to say all that, it would sound terrible.
Credit to the guy Everything spent for. He could still probably do it today.
He could do it right now. Yeah. So yeah, no, there's a lot going on, and maybe we're being hard in that song. There's some great guitar lines in it as well.
There is.
So there is a lot of layered guitar. It's kind of woven layers. There's a bass line, then there's another rhythm with the two of them playing, and then there's harmonies on top of that during the midsection, which is really, really cool. Kind of before the builds a bit of a crescendo before the last outro chorus, if you want to call it that. So yeah, there's some really cool playing in it. So yeah, good song.
Yeah.
Next up,
The Duelists.
The Duelists, which is another song about
sword
fighting, but this time it's by Steve Harris.
Yeah, no, I know, and a weird thing because it is taking a wee bit of an influence from the movie, the Ridley Scott movie.
Yes.
Some of the duels in that movie were actually pistol duels.
Yes.
That's my pernickety fact of the episode.
That is true. I was looking up about the film, and some of them were pistol duels, and it was all about a series of duels.
Yeah, it was through
these two guys who had this rivalry. But the song basically seems to be, it is about two people dueling, and it does seem to be about more than one duel. Yeah, perhaps.
I definitely think it's from watching the movie or having.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah. It is influenced by the movie, but Steve has it's creative license, isn't it? And I think it's kind of told from the perspective of the underdog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, who's eventually stabbed in the heart. One of the verses
Aren't we
he's
all?
injured in the chest, and then the last one
Yeah.
is stabbed in the heart. I think there's the opening riff is cool. Sorry.
All
go
I'm
ahead.
going to say, watch the movie and follow the lyrics, read the lyrics, and then watch the film.
Okay. I didn't watch the movie, but
No.
I had a scan of the plot
Uh-huh.
on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So I did just to get a view of what
It's
what it was about.
You know,
so,
this song out of the two sword tunes on the album, this
Yeah.
is my favorite of the two.
I prefer it as a song.
Yeah.
I do. I think
It's a
that
bit long.
I think it's a wee bit overstays its welcome at 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It's what is it? 6 minutes 18. I do think it's a bit long, but I love the opening riff.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
I love the slide down and the
Yeah.
chord as well. Just over, on that opening. I think the riff is just really, really cool.
And there's the interplay. There's a duel going on between
Smith
Smiley and
Murray.
Smithy. Yeah.
I agree. I really, really
Smiley's
like that
who
about it.
we call Dave Murray Smiley. We've explained this because he's always smiling.
It's the
'Cause he's
happiest
the
guitarist in the
happiest
world.
man on this planet.
Of course he is.
He's a maiden.
And he writes bugger all songs. He doesn't do any work. He just turns up and smiles and lets fly, basically.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Love
I
him.
love him.
But yes, I would prefer this to Flash of the Blade, although my criticism of it is the same, I suppose. It's a good track.
Yeah.
Is it one of the best or their best tracks? No. And it's probably a bit longer than it should be. It could have maybe been condensed a wee bit.
I think
but
the instrumental bit sort of towards the end of the track, it reminds me of Queen, which is weird.
probably all the layered guitars.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they're
I was listening to it going,
Yeah.
Brian May could be playing this, you know.
aye, that's what it'll be. 'Cause there is a lot of guitar lines
And we
going
both
on.
love Queen,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. No, definitely,
Yeah.
I can get that. Brian May's a master of layering guitars,
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah. So, any more on the duelists?
All I can say is that, you know, the riff's great and watch the movie. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next track is "Back in the Village."
Yep.
Now, this is a
Right, go ahead.
well. I have very mixed feelings about this song. I think the riff is cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
As I say, best guitar work yet.
but I
This is
don't.
Richie Blackmore. This is when I listen to this song, I think of Richie Blackmore.
Richie Blackmore. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Purple sort of Dio era rainbow sort of vibe musically with the guitar work.
That's weird that you say that about this song.
Right.
So this.
Are you going to say it about the next one?
I was going to say that about the
I
next
sort of think the same myself. But anyway.
So, but yeah, it's a Smith Dickinson composition.
That's
This,
weird.
and I like the riff, and it's all kind of, it's very full on. This song.
I think the idea behind it, the sort of sequel to The Prisoner,
Yes.
it's quite tenuous, the link of that, I think. Back in the Village, yeah, you know, okay, they're back in the village of Port Marion, you know,
Yes.
where The Prisoner was filmed, and you've got I am not a number, I am a man, or I am free. I am free is not what the lyric goes, just off the top of my head towards the end.
And back. Yeah.
Back in the Village, yeah.
I have written here, The Prisoner Revisited. Bruce says it's a psychedelic fall through time in a world in which somebody is transported from the present day and suddenly he is the prisoner again. And I've also written here, I don't get that from the lyrics at all. Now, maybe it's because I don't know anything about the TV series, really. I've never really watched The Prisoner. Maybe if I was a fan of the show, maybe a lot of the lyrics would make sense to me.
Yeah.
But not knowing the show
Yeah.
that well, the lyrics really just don't make any sense to me. I until looking it up, I for years I've had no idea what Back in the Village is about. It just never, as a track, really made any lyrical sense.
Yeah.
Now, songs don't always have to make lyrical
No, of
sense
course
to you.
not.
There's plenty of songs you can love and have no idea what it's about, and it doesn't matter. But don't know. Although the riff is cool and there's some good guitar work in it, I think there's I think this song's too long. I think it goes on a wee bit, and I think it lacks any kind of light and shade. It's very just go, go, and I think it kind of, for me, it runs out of puff.
Yeah, I don't particularly. I'm not a massive fan of the very ending of the track right enough. Yeah, it's like how do we end this type of thing.
Yes,
now that's being really critical.
That's being really critical.
You know,
it's a decent enough track, but for me, it's the weakest track in the album. So I don't know what you think it's.
I think I prefer it to Flash of the Blade.
Flash of the Blade.
Okay. Yeah.
I prefer Flash of the Blade probably because the riff's a wee bit better and it's shorter. But again, that's being quite harsh.
Kind of like yin and yang. What you're saying about this album, I was saying about Peace of Mind.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yeah, I was
weird.
I was thinking that this week when I was listening to it. But for anyone who didn't watch last week's, with Peace of Mind, Chris thought that there's a couple of tracks that maybe outstayed their welcome.
Yeah.
Well, I love every second of Peace of Mind, but with this, I think there are songs, those kind of.
Yeah, bookend
metal
in the middle.
Metal 3 or 4
the
tracks.
The filling of the metal sandwich.
Yes. I think are
it's just been slightly under-seasoned.
Yes.
There's a metaphor for you.
I think it's a patchy album in that sense, but the first 2 songs are
patchy,
are awesome, as we've said, and
patchy.
Yeah, but we'll come back to our overall thoughts. Probably shouldn't have said that until the end. Yeah, so I'm
I fell off a seat.
Back in the Village is okay.
It is okay. Yeah. These 3 are, they're as I say, they're I don't lump Lost for Words actually in with the rest of those. I actually love Lost for Words, but
right, okay,
yeah.
Okay,
and I love the Duelists.
Okay,
but, yeah,
fair enough.
Okay, but I do prefer Back in the Village, to be honest. But yeah, it's you're talking, microns of differentiation between it and Flash of the Blade, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
Saying that, and this is the thing which bugs me a wee bit. The next track is Powerslave, track 7.
Yes.
And the intro to Powerslave is lumped on to the end of Back in the Village.
So it depends. Yes. So in the 98 remasters or whatever it was, that was done.
Yeah.
It's not on any other version of it.
Right.
So it's not. Because it's been put back to the start of Powerslave.
Because when I was listening to this during the week, I must have on my phone the 98 remastered version.
Yeah.
So I was going, where is the beginning of this track? And then obviously whenever
you found it at the ass end of Back in the Village. Yeah.
The back of Back in the Village.
Don't know why they did that. Don't know. It always sounded like a mistake to me. The CD at the time, but I have the high res versions that were done. How many years ago? 5 years ago or something?
About the time of Book of Souls, wasn't
it? Something like that. Yeah. And it's been put back to where it should be. Corrected. Yes. So Powerslave, I think it's an awesome way to start the track. I love the sample. I love the scream, the heart beating.
Yeah.
And then the big evil laugh before Nico's cool drum roll.
Fabulous. We haven't actually mentioned Nico yet.
No, we haven't. His drumming's awesome in this album. Yeah.
It's testament to the guy that we automatically expect incredible drums.
Yes.
Whereas Clive obviously had more space to fill, maybe. I don't know. And that's no disrespect to anything, but Nico is just like an octopus.
And he's on fire in this album, I have to say. And his drums sound really. It's like they're wound really.
Production.
Yeah.
Ambition and production.
Yeah. He sounds great. Just sounds phenomenal drumming the whole way through. Some of the tracks we're saying they're okay or whatever, but just can't fault the drumming on anything. Like, it's awesome, flawless performance.
This track is looking at it.
Yeah.
If you played this as somebody who never heard Iron Maiden before and said this is an Iron Maiden track, and then you played them something else, I think it's a bit odd. It's a bit of a departure, I think. But what a departure! It's fabulous.
For me, this is an awesome Maiden track.
Yeah. It's one of my top favorites.
Yes,
Yep.
it's definitely up there.
Yeah. Mine
Excuse
too.
me. And I think, kind of guitar-wise, there is a bit of the Blackmore about
Yes,
this. You know,
definitely.
Gates of Babylon,
Deal.
that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and we know how much of a influence Deep Purple were on the composite
Bruce.
members of
Yeah.
Maiden. All of them.
Yeah.
Well, Adrian Smith, I'd say Richie Blackmore is a big guitar influence on him.
Yeah.
I would have said Paul Kossoff, you know, in earlier episodes, but
Yeah.
definitely with this, you know, and Dave Murray too,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yep.
and Steve.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually Yannick's favourite guitarist,
Sweet. There you go.
Blackmore. So yeah, although he's obviously not on this album, but yeah, no, it definitely has
Superb.
that bit of that vibe, just because of the scale, I suppose. It's very
I
Gates of
can't
Babylon
remember
or
what
whatever.
scale it is, but it's definitely Eastern sounding.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, it is. Class. Love the lyrics.
Yep.
That kind of irony that even pharaohs die, they can't cheat death.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know,
And
that kind of
everybody
thing.
dies around them.
Yep, yep.
What about the semi-autobiographical nature of this?
So
I think that's played on a bit much.
what the Bruce has kind of said, that slave to the power of the machine,
Yeah.
the band,
Yeah.
the thing.
Now we all know,
Mm-hmm.
or most of us know, that by this stage he's completely burnt out.
Well,
You know, he had a lot of things physically. You know, they had to cancel a few shows and things like that. But
on the World Peace Tour,
yeah,
yeah,
and then
he'd
obviously
had
you see.
laryngitis, he'd had all these kind of
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
hadn't he?
but-
You know,
At the end of the day, you know, it's an Egyptian themed track. Pharaohs, gods,
mhm.
you know, gods on earth is what they regard it as, and when they died, they usually took their entire household with them, slaves, what have you. You know, Tutankhamun and his 3 golden chariots that he had, and 5,000 walking sticks or whatever he had in his
Yeah,
tomb.
but
You know,
I don't know. So, you know, I think we have to take Bruce at his word on that. That probably, as he's written it, he's thought,
I think with hindsight, he's probably
You know.
and he was talking about a slave amp, you know, that you would have whenever you're playing live or whatever. But you know, it's the flamboyance in this track,
it's monstrous track.
the production.
Yeah,
When you see it being played live, even they played it Legacy of the Beast, didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah. And
No.
I've
They
seen
played
it.
it. They played it in the Book of Souls.
Ah, right there on.
So they did, because he wore the kind
The
of
mask.
Mexican wrestling mask,
Oh, not the one he bought in the section.
not the feathered one. No, that he wore on this tour. No, he wore, like, you know, like a Mexican wrestlers
is
wear.
it Luchador mask or whatever you call it?
You know,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
He wore one of those in the Book of Souls tour. So they played it in quite a few recent tours. Though.
Yeah.
So
it's one that's
just
come
a
back,
brilliant
yeah,
track,
yeah.
you know, and that, you know,
It's got a real good. It's got a sort of pounding riff as well. You know.
and I think it's one of the magic Maiden live moments. You
Absolutely.
know, that when Bruce says "scream for me" when
Yeah.
it's, you know, before the chorus. That's, you know, that's ultimate Maiden stuff.
That's what it's
there,
designed. That's
you
what
know?
it's designed.
Yeah.
You know, to be. It's a song that's designed to be performed live. I think.
And it's a complex song. It's about
Absolutely.
7 minutes, and
It gets into epic category.
it gets into the epic category. Yeah, I think it's often not thought of as an epic.
That's right.
Because of
What comes after?
after it. But it is an epic. I mean, this could have
Absolutely fabulous.
closed. You know, it's the same length as, you know, To Tame a Land, so
Yep.
it could have closed.
Hallowed be thy name,
Or
yeah.
Hallowed be thy name on other albums, or Alexander the Great. Or, so it is an epic. It's got a kind of lovely quiet bit.
Yeah.
With some cool guitar solos. And then it rocks fast bit before kind of doing a mega drum roll.
It's really good. Yeah.
And going back into the reprising, back into the verse and chorus. Also, I love the harmonies in the background of the chorus. Actually, if you just listen to those, they're class sounding.
Yeah, very much so.
Really atmospheric. So
You know, like as Maiden or the Masters of painting the picture in your head.
yeah.
And you know, if you sat and put that track on and had a 12-inch copy of the album in front of you, it would just be nearly would be like a 3D movie before 3D movies were invented.
It really does paint
an immersive experience.
Paint the picture, and it's all the imagery it conjures. Obviously, you know, we'll talk about the Eddies, I suppose, briefly at the end. But yeah, it's epic track,
absolutely
brilliant track. And speaking of epics, then the track that follows it,
until recently. Until Book of Souls, the longest track that they ever produced.
Yes. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
An absolute classic.
I've written a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
Yeah.
A masterpiece. Yeah, that's not giving it faint praise, or
no.
You know.
No, it is a masterpiece.
It is superb.
Absolutely. So 13 minutes, 45 seconds.
Could be 23 minutes. I wouldn't care. I'd still listen to it.
It's just fantastic.
Could be an hour and 3 minutes. I just absolutely love this track.
Yeah. Now, a couple of interesting things just picked up from the Fan Club magazine again. Even after all these years, memories, I suppose, can be different for different band members. So in Bruce's interview, he says about this track that, Steve was influenced by that, you know, stormy, blustery, you know, January Jersey.
Yeah, I know
weather in Jersey, you know.
And
they must have interviewed Bruce first, because then the guy's interviewing Steve. It's obviously separate conversations. So how much were you influenced by Jersey and the weather?
Jersey in February?
Not at all. I didn't write it in Jersey.
You wrote it in the Bahamas?
Wrote it in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
He says he clearly remembers writing this in the apartment in the Bahamas that they had, because he had that pressure that it had to be done.
Yeah.
And I think he says in the early days video.
That's right. You know that from,
you know, it ties in with that, because he says there, I remember we were getting through the other songs far quicker than he had expected, and he was like, oh no, I better get this epic finished, you know?
You know, an albatross around his neck.
Yeah.
Finished.
Totally. He had to get it finished, but
again, this is Steve Harris again. I know he must have done this in school. This is a very famous poem to do in English class, like the Tam O'Shanter and Number of the Beast. Yeah.
Well, Bruce said that he was like, he said my jaw hit the floor when Steve told me, he said, I've got this song, it's called Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and Bruce was like, Coleridge? You know?
Yeah, aye.
Really?
Yeah. Go and check out on YouTube. I did. I actually listened. Surya McKellen reading the whole poem. It's 31 minutes long.
Right. Okay.
I think it maybe is, or was. I think maybe still is. It's the longest piece of poetry written in the English language.
Right. Okay. So it was written in 1797 and 98.
Yeah. By Samuel.
Taylor Coleridge, English poet. It's a cool story.
Absolutely brilliant. It's like, you know, one of those things. It's a legend, really. That story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a legend. Should we kind of go through what the story's about?
Aye, briefly. Why not? Yeah.
So
somebody on the way to their wedding is curtailed by a crazy man.
Yes. So a guy on his way to a wedding is stopped by a crazy man, and he's a bit reluctant to listen because he's on his way to a wedding. But he's mesmerized by this, by the glittering eye of this kind of mad mariner, who starts telling him about this voyage that he had, and he's on a boat, and there's a storm that sends him to the Antarctic.
Yeah, well, I suppose in those days, it's sort of the time that this was written in history. The Southern Ocean's probably a great unknown to a lot of people. James Cook would have discovered Australia in the 1770s, I think. Yeah. Just off the top of my head.
You're right, because the poem, right? They say that Coleridge based the poem on some of the diaries and stuff of Cook.
And then, you know, obviously, and then, you know, the Southern Ocean was and still is one of the most treacherous places on Earth, you know.
Yeah. So So yeah, they get blown in by a storm into these Antarctic waters, and an albatross leads them out of the ice jam.
Yeah, which is in maritime, it's a sign of good fortune.
Sign of good fortune. And the crew are all happy and they praise the bird and they feed the bird. But the mariner shoots it with his bow and arrow. And the crew are very angry with him.
Yep.
And
lash him to the mast. Put the dead albatross around his neck.
Yeah. Well, first the weather improves and the fog clears. So after kind of scolding him, they then say, maybe we're wrong, and they make themselves part of the crime.
So,
right. See.
No smoke without fire.
No, that's it. But then the southern winds return, and they get blown up towards the equator, where they are becalmed.
Yeah,
becalmed, which means
becalm yourself.
Which means stuck because there's no wind
Yeah.
to move the boat, move the sails. And anyway, the crew start getting on at the mariner again. That's where they
lash him to the mast
and
stick the bird around the albatross, the proverbial albatross around the
neck. That's where the phrase comes from. And then a ghost ship appears, and on this ghost ship is Death and a deathly pale woman who is known as She Life and Death. There you are.
That's it. Matter, huh?
No, I don't know. It might have been many moons ago, maybe.
Just never know.
And anyway, Death and this ghostly woman, they play dice for the souls of the crew, and Death wins the crew, and the woman wins the mariner. So the crew then die one by one. There's 200 of them, which is 4 times 50 living men.
Yeah.
But the mariner lives on, and then he realizes the beauty of the sea creatures, which he had formerly obviously not really appreciated.
Yep. And shot with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, and shot with a bow and arrow. And he prays, and part of the curse is lifted, and the albatross then falls from his neck, and it starts to rain, and the crew rise from the dead and help steer the ship. And
as you do,
and then he just awakes to see the boat approaching his homeland, and then the spirits leave the crew's bodies, and the ship is sunk into a whirlpool.
Yeah.
And
not really a big advertisement for any sea travel, seriously.
No, it's definitely not. It would put you off that.
Going on a cruise.
You wouldn't be going on a cruise after listening to this, no. And the mariner is then left, obviously, in a perilous, about to drown, I would imagine. But an old hermit saw the boat sinking and went out in his rowing boat and picks him up. So the mariner survived, but has to tell his story wherever he goes, which is obviously
ruining weddings everywhere.
Ruining weddings for everyone everywhere. Yes. So
well done, that was really good.
Hope that maybe, if you didn't know what the song was about and you couldn't be bothered reading the very lengthy poem,
thank us in the comments.
Yes, maybe that makes some sense. But I love the moods, the music, despite what it's about.
The dynamism of the tune is unreal. It's unparalleled to this state. I still think this is
the greatest epic.
It's their best epic.
It is their best epic. Hallowed be thy name. But
but it's
but this is epic.
There's more parts in this.
Yes, there is more parts in this. I don't know. I
do love Empire of the Clouds, but this is better.
Yeah, this is better. Yes, definitely. Steve said of this that he thought that writing the longer pieces, he thought that To Tame a Land was, for his songwriting, a real step up from anything he had written before. Maybe going back to, like the first album of Phantom of the Opera, but he really felt that about To Tame a Land, or June as it should have been called. And he said this kind of, I guess it kind of maybe took it up a wee notch from To Tame a Land.
Challenge yourself, more ambition.
Yeah, and he definitely did. He also didn't expect it to be 13 minutes long. He was a bit
I would say that. I think it's early days. They're like they play it. They never timed anything.
No,
so
I never timed anything. Just this was the
couldn't
length.
believe the length of it.
Yeah. It was just this is how long it took to tell the story. It wasn't right. I'm going to write a 13-minute song. It was just he was writing a song, and that's how long it lasted.
And to date, everybody loves playing it live.
Oh, they love playing it live, and it's the different moods I think that's created in the song, especially that bit where they're, it's like the ghostly ship and there's like a monkey running and all that kind of stuff. I think it's so eerie, and the little volume swells and all just add to the atmosphere. That was
one thing I was going to highlight. It was in that middle part, the sort of creaky part.
Yeah.
And the volume swells are, because again, you had mentioned that I think in the last album, there's no synthesizers in this or anything.
Yeah.
That comes, but not here, and I love that.
I love it. It's far better.
The technicality, it's easy saying the word to do, but
to do it right and to do it well,
exactly,
is different. And they do it live too, and it sounds brilliant. Like it's just amazing.
The song would be as good if you split it into 3 separate songs. You know, that's a testament to how good that Steve Harris's songwriting is in this.
Yeah,
I adore this song. I don't like it. I absolutely
love it as
adore
well.
It. It's fabulous.
Likewise, it's awesome. So
and seeing it live at the Summer Back in Time, where were we?
At Twickenham.
Yeah.
Yes.
That just kind of made my summer. That was amazing. That was a great summer
awesome
for gigs.
to see it live. Yeah, it was first time I saw them play it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Only time I saw them play it. Yeah. It's just epic. Fantastic track, best track on the album, and that's really saying something.
Yeah, I agree.
Best
track on the album, and there are 4 gold standard Maiden songs in this album.
Yes, I agree. There are 4 gold standard Maiden songs.
If you were making a best of, you would need a big tape.
There are 4 bona fide classics.
Yep.
The first 2 and the last 2.
Yeah. As I say, bookended, but
before we give opinions,
I'm not going to get. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the song. It's to do Harris's writing, of course.
Yes.
But Bruce's performance.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Super.
Like he really sells the story. He
water everywhere, not a drop to drink. Like even if you had only ever heard it once, that would still be stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And the board's shrinking and all. I'm like, you're there, and you're like, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But and the other bit, the bit before the lead in, the bit after the quiet part where it kind of stops for a split second,
and then the bass line,
and then the bass comes in, and then
it's very uplifting.
Maiden, guitars come in.
Yep.
It's probably not the first, but that
it's the mariner he died, but
that particular part. That guitar, that sort of figure of whatever bars of the guitar and the bass together is a blueprint for the next 2 albums. Definitely. Just that wee tiny part. If this song wasn't written, Maiden's career would obviously would still be very good, but this is this album could be called Bookends or it could be called Ambition.
Yes.
This is ambition, and this is another blueprint to go forward to maintain world domination status, which this is going to give them.
This is going to give them. It's a hugely ambitious track. Way more.
What's the best song in this album? It's a 13-minute song about a poem written 200 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, who does that?
Only Maiden.
Only Maiden.
Yeah.
With a spoken word section and this, that, and the other. It's in many ways a bizarre thing to try, but
no, an ambitious thing.
Thing to try.
Absolutely.
And it's just a stunning track.
Steve gets a lot of credit. The diehards, he is Maiden, but he's some balls.
Oh,
he really has balls all the way through. Maiden's massively long career now.
Yeah,
5th decade or
What do you mean, the bravery to try?
Yeah.
You know, something new like this to push the boundaries.
Push the boundary in a arguably niche
Yes.
and part of the entertainment
Yes.
industry.
Yes. I'd say that's fair. And also,
Why has he not been recognised by the Queen? Why is he not Sir Steve Harris?
Sir Steve
Why
Harris.
not?
I don't know.
Get a petition out there.
Yep, Sir Steve.
I'd love to see him getting an knighthood of the Queen.
I know. He should. He should.
Be class.
Uh-huh.
He'd be like this with a sword.
You heard it here first. Sir Steve Harris.
Sir Steve Harris, the campaign has begun. Get them all knighthoods.
All right, Sir Steve.
Sir Michael Henry McBrain. All right. Class.
That's what he would say.
Hashtag maiden for
Sir-
Buckhouse.
Sir Eddie. Yeah, no. Steve deserves huge credit for the ambition to try a track like that and
to pull it off.
And to pull it off. Obviously, he had the confidence that he had the band there to pull it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an awesome track. Absolutely awesome track. So, anything else to add about the track?
Could wax lyrical about all the good parts in it, you know.
Could
but
we?
It could really. The lead work's fantastic. The volume swells are great.
Mm-hmm.
The middle quiet part, which is atmospheric,
to say the least.
Yep.
Yep.
The beginning of it's just standard Maiden
Yep.
power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again,
What
the delivery of the vocals,
what I like about it as well is straight in.
urgency. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's just he doesn't bother with an intro because
Yeah,
there's
it
so
chugs
much
there.
going to be going on.
You don't need an intro.
Don't need an intro. It's just straight in to this one. You know.
The sort of I just laying it down there. The sort of sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
really
that
good.
mid pace.
And you know, the screaming, it's great too. Some great screams.
Yeah.
And their discography to do.
Yes. It's
This
a pretty
being
good one.
1984, we're
It's
talking
a
about this is
it's a brilliant
brilliant.
one. So it is.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's a stunning.
It's
track,
just
so-
everybody on their A game.
Yeah. Yep.
I
Agreed.
really think
Agreed.
this whole album is everybody on their A game. There are songs on it which are weak, yeah, but
Yep.
this album is them just literally dominating the world
Okay. Well,
of metal.
will we just talk about the Eddies before we?
Yeah, no problem.
Maybe give away
Yeah,
our
absolutely,
album
no problem.
reviews. So
Brilliant Daddies.
Brilliant Eddies.
I would
Yeah.
say they're my favourite Eddies. No,
Yeah.
that's not true.
We might say that every week about the Eddies, but they are brilliant.
No,
Eddies.
as a collective, they're my favorite. They're my favorite Eddies. They
So
are.
the first Eddie we have is 2 minutes to midnight.
Yep.
Eddie, because that
Love
single was released 6th August '84.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
With all the kind of UN flags,
Yep.
the nuke in the background,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Eddie just looks
Sitting on a
really
tank, just going.
hard. With bandana
Yeah.
and patch. It's cool. Really cool. Aces High is a
It's my
awesome Eddie.
It's my favorite Eddie.
It's brilliant.
Thing.
It's just brilliant.
I love World War II, and I love specifically the planes.
It's the bullet holes in the glass.
Yeah.
And it's just class.
It's my most
Yeah.
worn Iron Maiden T-shirt.
Love it.
So it is.
And there's no more you can say about it.
No,
It's just
it's-
an awesome Eddie. And then the album
Cap
cover.
it off for the album cover. Yeah,
Like, what a majestic piece of artwork.
absolutely fabulous.
It's
Like,
just stunning looking,
yeah,
you know?
you know, and like a lot of wee hidden messages, isn't there, in hieroglyphics?
Yeah.
Which I think was pretty cool. I didn't obviously. I'm not going to be sitting translating the hieroglyphics in an Iron Maiden. I'm having a good time.
No.
But
no.
you know, if I was a kid, I probably would have.
Yes. Just
You
as a
know,
kid.
If
and
I had the
even-
internet, like, where would you have got a friggin' hieroglyphic?
You've got it on your t-shirt there.
Exactly.
I mean, there's just something, it just looks so regal, and there's something majestic about it, you know? Ambition, you know, it's just, they've made Eddie into, you know, a giant
Like,
sphinx, pharaoh,
You know, you're talking
a temple
two
that's been
albums
built to him,
from
you know?
that, which is a masterpiece
Yeah.
of art, to, you know,
Another
another
masterpiece of art. you know,
Another
it's-
masterpiece.
It's just glorious. It's a brilliant cover, absolutely
I think it's the
brilliant cover.
best looking album cover.
It's hard to beat,
Yeah.
really. Like,
I'm not sure it's my favorite album cover, but it's definitely my favorite set of Eddies.
Yeah.
as collectively.
As a
definitely.
collective.
Yeah, you can't really argue. I can't argue with that really. But is it my favorite album cover? It's definitely up there. Yeah,
It has to be up there.
it's not my favorite album cover, but
Not your ultimate favorite,
Yeah.
but one of the favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
And most certainly an iconic Eddie. It's bound to be one of the most popular Eddies, I think. You know, it's just
Maiden
just
obviously
so cool.
in the pre-internet era sold a lot of records.
Yeah.
And going into
And t-shirts, merchandise.
yeah,
they're still at it. You know,
in
it's just-
America, buying the album like it is their best. I don't know where to date. It's still their best-selling American album or not. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But
know.
you know, at the time, you know, America was the place that they had begun to crack. Obviously, with the World Peace Tour, and then bringing this out. Like, if you had seen Maiden and the singles as well, great singles.
They're great singles. I mean, 2 minutes and Ace is Higher. Just
They're very
brilliant.
catchy.
Brilliant.
Of the era, like you think about 1984 by Van Halen, you know, another phenomenal album.
Great album.
We both love,
Yeah.
with great singles on it. You know, this is the time when hard rock / metal came to the fore. Bon Jovi, completely different band, but they would have been pretty massive at this stage too. Wouldn't you? I think so. 84. You know,
And you've got videos for those singles as well. Pretty cool videos.
all powerful through MTV. Yep.
Yep. So, you know, brilliant Eddies. Now, we're going to give our album rating because
no problem.
we're actually not going to talk about the World Slavery Tour.
No, we're not. We're going to save that for the next episode because we felt very, very strongly that we could not just skip over the masterful
Life After Death. Yeah, so we're going to do a separate episode for Life After Death and the World Slavery Tour.
We couldn't not, folks.
Yeah,
you know.
So we'll talk about all the kind of the Eddies associated with the tour, I suppose, then, because there are some other mummy Eddies and all the World Slavery Tour stuff. So we'll talk about those then. So overall, as an album, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I'm going to give this a 9. I love this
Whoa,
album. Yeah,
a 9.
Second highest score I've given so far.
Right. Okay.
The ambition, the total package, the production, and the sheer strength of the 4 tracks that are on it. And the other tracks, I love Lost for Words. I really do. And I love the Duelists. So I would say this has got 4 gold standard and 2 great Iron Maiden songs on it.
Okay.
So this is a 9 for me.
A 9? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I struggled with the score for this.
Did you?
So that I did a bit, but kind of came to a conclusion that it does have, as you say, 4 gold standard.
Yeah.
Like ultimate Maiden tracks,
Yeah.
basically, you know. And really, when I looked at it, that's like, you know, that's 60% of the album is flawless.
Yeah.
You know, it's half an hour, and the other 4 songs are 20 minutes. So I thought to myself, right, well, that would get, those 4 songs alone get 6 out of 10 because they're just flawless, right?
Okay.
So
I like it. You're very mathematical.
I couldn't. I was really struggling to go
formula.
How could I get, you know, how can I mark this album? It's a difficult one.
Difficult.
It's for me, it is a patchy album.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, the first 2 songs are great, and I think the middle 4 songs are just okay. I don't think the songwriting is anywhere near as consistent as Peace of Mind or Number of the Beast, where, you know, Number of the Beast, you're talking, you know, there's maybe 1-2 tracks that are not absolutely brilliant. Yeah. You know, as we said. Yeah. Peace of Mind, I think, pretty much every track, there's maybe 1 isn't quite up there, but
well, you see, I disagree with that.
You disagree with that, but
yeah.
that's my take on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for this, I was kind of like, well, you know, you've got 4 good songs and 4 just okay songs. Yeah. I didn't think those 4 songs were as good as the other stuff in Peace of Mind. Okay. But having said that, I give it an 8. I
think that's fair enough.
Because I think
you give Peace of Mind a 10.
Yeah. I give Peace of Mind a 10. I give Number of the Beast a 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
And I'm more hard. I don't know. I've been as this goes on, I sort of think to myself, we spoke about maybe I should have given Iron Maiden more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and Number of the Beast, like Number of the Beast, a far better album than this. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is just a springboard again, like it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the album. It and Peace of Mind are quite on a level, right? My criticisms of Peace of Mind were on last week's episode. This is definitely, I do think this is if you could just amalgamate the two, you would have the best Iron Maiden album.
You the best Iron Maiden album?
I do think so.
Probably a fair point. I mean,
you could have a Piece of Power.
Piece of Power Mind.
Slave
or
Mind.
something, yes. Yeah, I mean, how could you give any album with Remy the Ancient Mariner on it anything lower than, an
8?
Yeah, and
I agree.
It's not that the middle 4 songs are bad. And that's how I kind of thought to myself, it's bound to get another 2 marks then.
Yeah.
They're not bad songs. They're okay.
Bitch and cover. Great
cover.
Eddies, and we'll talk about the tour next week.
So, yeah, totally. So
it's ambition. It's
an 8 for me and a 9 for you.
Yeah.
So that's an overall Ed Factor score
of 8.5.
Of 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's not bad. It's a recommendation.
It's
all going to be recommendations.
They're all going to be recommendations. 8.5.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a good. That's a solid mark.
Yeah, I give it 9. I really love this album. I really, really love those 4 tracks. I really love them.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I just think,
and that's why it gets an extra wee squidge for me.
Yeah.
And I really love Lost for Words. And but on that note, we will see you next time.
We will indeed.
When we will be taking a little detour and heading into the field of live recordings.
Yes. We'll be looking at Life After Death, as we said, which will be Maiden's first proper live album. And therefore our first review of a live album. So check that out. And thanks for all your comments and support on Twitter, etc. Look forward to hearing from you.
Yep. Please let us know what your opinions are. Please keep contributing to the votes.
Yep.
And keep the love. We really appreciate everything that you do.
Yep.
And we'll see you on the flip side next time.
Yep. Up the irons. See
you
there.
Up the irons, guys.
Bye-bye.